Welcome to Wellbeing Matters. I'm Jess, your Wellbeing Coach and Chaplain, and I'm very excited to be starting our first series in the Wellbeing Matters videos, and this topic is all about emotional regulation. But first, to understand emotional regulation and to get into some of the tips and strategies around doing that, we need to first understand what emotions are and the purpose that they serve. We all have emotions and we cannot escape from them, I'm sorry to say, but they do not need to be feared. There's a number of aspects to our emotions. We have the feeling aspect, that joy, that anger, what we feel, and we're all very familiar with that aspect of emotions. We also have a biological aspect to our emotions. There's a physiological response that can lead us to feel a certain way. So that might be your heart rate increasing, your breath getting faster. It might be the energy levels that we have. Emotions have a purposeful aspect to them as well. They actually generate urges and impulses and motivate us to action. There's also a social aspect to emotions. Emotions help us to communicate with others, help us express how we feel, and help us connect with others as well and understand others. So emotions serve quite a lot of purposes, and there's many aspects to them. And one of the good things about emotions, for the most part, is that they are short-lived. That's important to know. Emotions are responses that actually help us adapt to challenges that we're facing and to important life events and opportunities as well. If we can think of emotions as a bit of a readout system or signals, they're trying to tell us something. They're trying to tell us, are we functioning well? Are we coping well? Are we adapting well? Or are we not adapting so well? And then it can help us to make an appropriate response and choose the right action. So think of them like little alert systems. Your emotions are actually trying to tell you something about how well or how not well you're doing in that moment and in response to that event. When it comes to events and things happening in life around us, and even our physical reactions to things, it's actually our interpretation of those events or our biological responses that creates an emotion. For example, if we've got a racing heart, we might interpret that as fear and anxiety and nervousness and get really sort of worked up about that. Or we might interpret that as, oh, this is excitement, or this is telling me that I really care about this and I'm about to do something exciting. And so it's a very different emotional response. We might be cut off in the street by a car hooning past us, and we might get really angry at them because we think they're just a hoon, they're obnoxious, they don't think about anyone else on the road. Or we might actually see that that person is maybe elderly, or we think, oh, well, maybe that person's rushing to the birth of their child, and we'll have a different emotional response as a result of how we've interpreted that event. So same event, different interpretation can lead to different emotions. Emotions are not bad. They might feel yucky in the moment, but they do serve a purpose. Every single emotion, anger, fear, sadness, joy, excitement, happiness, disgust, all of them serve a purpose. They direct our attention and channel our behavior to what needs attending to. Emotions are a coping function, they're a social function, they're not something to be feared. And so throughout this series, we're going to look at some tips and strategies to help you regulate your emotions, how to understand the emotions that you're feeling, how to respond appropriately to them, and how to deal with them in the moment when they might be getting a little bit out of hand, because we all know that they do. So hopefully this has helped you understand that emotions have many different aspects to them. It's really important to understand that they do serve a purpose and they can be short-lived. Think of them like alert systems, signals to what's going on in your world. And what's really important to know as well is our interpretation of an event or situation can actually lead to the emotion that we feel, whether good or bad. And that depends on how we see something. So I'm going to go through more strategies and tips around that in the coming videos. So I hope you'll stay with me. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.